Hey guys, here we are today. Van Zolt's Restorations. Grego's here. What do we got? We've got the doors to Violet bay window combi. She was pretty rusty. But yeah, as you can see from there, we get a lot of the doors sandblasted. So all the insides, because you can never sand them. I don't get into sandblast directly on the back of the flat metal because it can lead to problems with warping, etc. So we've got all these nice and clean, all the hinges, all the areas that are impossible, not impossible, but take forever to sand. But having said that, the flat panel here is something you don't want to sandblast. So I just thought I'd show you the process on how we sand it back. So yeah, let's start with what you'll need. I'll just bloody pivot this around a little bit. Don't know whether I can see that or not. Anyway, yeah, so on the grinder, right. So our first step is to remove most of the bog and the paint, etc. before smoothing the metal over. So this is a 115mm grinder. You can use 125mm as well. But this backing pad is 125mm, or was. This one's worn down a little bit. So we whack that on, and these are a 5-inch disc or 125mm. So this is just one of the brands, Norton brand. There's 3M, there's heaps of other. This is about medium grade, not the best, not as good as the 3M ones, but they do the job okay. So that is a very coarse 36 grit. There is no quicker way of stripping a door back, no matter what other tools you've got. This has proven to be the quickest. But yeah, so you need the backing pad, and you need the lock nut for the backing pad. You usually buy that together as a package. And then screw that on. So yeah, 36 is pretty rough, so you want to be really light-handed with it. You're really just feathering over the top of it. You don't have to push on this at all. You've just got to move it around, and you do have to keep it moving because you can get the heat build up with one of these as well. So also important is breathing apparatus. This is just a respirator with a normal dust filter in it, not a gas one. Ear protection, I like these rather than the big muffs. And eye protection, probably the most important of all, really. But well, you've only got one set of lungs as you have one set of eyes, so you know you got to look after everything. Job like this, very low risk. But you could choose to wear gloves as well. So I'm not going to wear gloves now. And you will notice that there is no guard on this, and it's just guards get in the road. They're supposed to be there for safety, but they're just always in the road, and it's just gets in the way. So, and when you're sanding like this, you don't really want the guard on there anyway. It's more for when you're cutting metal. And if you're cutting just a normal sheet, cutting patches out of a sheet or something, no worries, you can have that guard on there. But when you're working on angles and stuff on cars, the guard's always in the road. So it's just not practical. So anyway, all right, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. I'm going to now put this on time lapse. Yeah, anyway, 36. And then you'll see, I'll just leave it on time lapse, and you'll see that once the majority of the paint stripped off, then you get what's called a flap disc. Alright, these are just cheapo ones. I think they're about $2 each or something like that. And you can get ones that are like $12 each, probably last longer. But these do the job fine because you're getting the bulk of the work done with that. So this 60 grit will then smooth up the metal, take the scratches out from that. But you don't want to drive this down too far. You want to just remove like 90% of the paint and bog with that, and then finish it off with this, smooth the finish. And you need a different lock nut on that. It's the same as a cutting disc one. And you take the backing pad off. So that's explained. Now I'll put it on time lapse and you can see the process. Right, so that's basically the process. I think that probably took barely 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes at the most. No, I think it was closer to 10. And so that's stripped off back to nice clean metal. You know, I've exposed the rust in the bottom of the door, which a lot of them are like that. So we'll be welding a patch in there. Yeah, so that's goes to sort of show how quickly you can strip a panel back if you have the right stuff. Now, I was just thinking about it while I was doing it. I thought, if you've never done it before and you're going to have a crack at stripping your panels back, definitely wear some gloves. Because, you know, I've been doing it for 35 years without a mishap. And so I'd like to make sure that if you're going to have a go at this yourself, that that you're fully protected. And another thing to note is, so notice I got the jacket. You know, I got my flanny. It's quite cool here at the moment. The flanny's loose. If you have any loose clothing, if you're grinding here, if it grabs on a flap of clothing, you'll know about it. It'll just like that, and it'll just bloody, yeah. So keep yourself protected and any zips or buttons done up. So that's going to be the best advice I can give you. So that's a door strip back. This sort of brown coating on there is pretty much like the factory primer. But having said that, we've removed just about all of it. Now we go over with the GA sander, dual action as they call it, air powered one, and buzz over it. Another thing is you can buy grinders in a 4-inch, 100mm. Don't really recommend the 100mm ones. It's just not quick enough. You need that. The bigger the grinder, the quicker the job's going to get done. And you can buy 125mm grinders, but they're a bit bigger and a bit heavier. And when you're doing this sort of thing, the lighter what you're holding, the better. So that's why we use the Makitas. They tend to last pretty long. They're pretty well built. So nice and light and slim and easy to handle with one hand. But we just use the 125mm sanding discs on there. So both the flat ones and the flap ones. So that's it, that's lovely clean metal. So you can DA over that. And then it's ready for epoxy. Another process that people use is like a dioxidine wash, which is like an acid wash over the metal. Particularly what we see on a lot of jobs is when you sand the paint off and you'll see spots of rust underneath, the metal's not true clean. You can't get it off by any forms of sanding. These little spots of rust have been growing there underneath, usually because they haven't epoxied the steel. So you can basically brush your stuff on, wipe it on, and then wipe it off with a damp rag and then epoxy it then. So, but if your metal's super clean, you shouldn't actually need that process. So, yeah, but yeah, this is the best way of showing all the repairs. Now you notice, might have seen it on the video, a little bit of pressure from the sander, you get a bit of oil canning, as they call it, oil canning like that. So yeah, you don't want to be pushing hard. So if you see that panel push down, you need to release the pressure a bit, let the sandpaper do a bit of work. And then what we actually do is put a bit of heat into that and like shrink it a bit so that it takes that out of it. So, all right, but that's another story altogether. So I just wanted to show you the process of stripping back paint on large areas. Like, yeah, I've seen panels full sandblasted on the side, but I don't like it. It's I've seen too many warp, so just better off to get everything blasted, all the tricky stuff that's hard to sand. But when a big flat smooth panel like this, really easy to sand. So remember, let the sandpaper do all the work, wear your protection, get the job done. All right, that's all for now.